Here's just the story. So it was really cool because I had passed them by. I'm like right now in Little Tokyo, as you can I guess see in the background. I'm in Little Tokyo. I'm just parked in Little Tokyo, and they were just sitting around, and I just complimented cosplay because everyone is dressed like the One Piece pirates. Or I shouldn't say One Piece pirates. I should say the Straw Hat Pirates from One Piece. So it's funny. So I was like, it was really cool, and they're like, "Hey, like, why are y'all dressed up like on a random like Monday?" And then they're like, "Oh, it's her birthday," and it's like, "Oh shoot, it's my birthday," which is true. This is Today is my birthday, so yeah. So they're all dressed up in their cosplay because it's one of their birthday. See, I'm gonna cough again. I don't know. Every time I do these, I'm always in a coughing spree whenever I do these. I got my water though, just in case I get coughing again. Sorry, it's that kind of professional podcast, but whatever. Um, but yeah, like so I'm out here, Little Tokyo. Just started work. Finished up first day of training, coming back to work. And yeah, I'm out here just kind of like enjoying the rest of my birthday. By myself. But I've had a lot of birthday greetings, and I do have a lot of birthday celebrations this week. And moving forward, so it's good. See, again, I'm so like dried up whenever I start these. That's it's hard to get through to them without coughing, or maybe it's just nervousness. I do notice that whenever I do these things, whenever I know I'm gonna be like filmed, or whenever I know I'm gonna like perform on something, I get super coffee, and like my throat dries up. So there I am, dry. Drinking my water again. Anyway, uh, wanted to do this, and I wanted to do this week's because it does look like that. I am just reflecting on like pop culture stuff, which I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to like reflect on like pop culture stuff, like TVs, movies, things like video games, anime, and just kind of reflecting on um, like my thoughts on it. And as my degree goes, because I have a master's of arts in theology, kind of analyzing that part as well too. And the thing I wanted to talk about, which is actually very poignant for my birthday, is Spider-Man Brand New Day. And before I get into it, I know people are going to be like, "I didn't watch it yet." Okay, it's cool. I'm going to do my very, very utmost best to not spoil it. But then there is a underlying theme that if you have at least watched the other Spider-Man movies before this, so Homecoming, Far From Home, and no, Homecoming, yeah, Far From Home, and No Way Home. No Way Home in particular. Um, there is a theme that people are already just starting to question even before watching this next movie. Again, I don't think you necessarily need to watch it. I would also say that this theme is interwoven into all of what Spider-Man is, and what I mean is like like within the pop culture references of Spider-Man, the comic books, the previous, I would say, video games and TV adaptations. For the most part, it is one underlying theme of Spider-Man, and of Peter Parker. Which, by the way, if you didn't know, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. I don't know why, um, but that's weird. But anyway, like, okay, so there's one thing that I really wanted to underline with the movie and the theme of the movie, and it's the theme of um, like loneliness and community. And in every iteration of Spider-Man, there's there's always the question of his duty over his identity. And this is what I mean. In every Spider-Man iteration, for the most part, it's always Spider-Man tries to keep his heroic identity as Spider-Man separate from Peter Parker's identity, and he doesn't let a lot of people in for the fear that if people knew the danger it was to know who Spider-Man was, if loved ones knew what was going on with Spider with like Peter because he's Spider-Man, then it would be a danger to them. And it's a very prevalent theme within within every iteration of Spider-Man I can think of, where those things have to be separate. I mean, it's true to a lot of like superhero movies. Like Batman's kind of the same, Superman's kind of the same, but Spider-Man in particular, because of his, I would say, youthfulness. Although this movie, someone makes a point that he's like not a kid anymore. But it's also like his story is very kind of relatable in that sense as well too, in the zeitgeist of what we're going through right now socially, and communally. I saw I saw TikTok. No, well, I don't have TikTok. I guess it's a TikTok, but I saw it on like on Instagram, in one of the reels, and the reel itself like had someone basically commenting on the fact that Spider-Man addresses the male loneliness epidemic. I don't know if I agree with that. Not necessarily because it doesn't, but I think it's broader than the male loneliness epidemic in the sense that, okay, sorry, that was weird. It just reset. I don't know why I did that. But anyway, so to continue, yeah, when it happened again, so a couple months ago, it happened again that like I was going through very similar health issues. In fact, I had to be hospitalized twice, and it went through a pretty major surgery last minute. And then when I was staring down the barrel of recovery, I was like, no, I'm not going to go through this again. Screw that. I'm not doing that. And with the advice of some close friends of mine, I was told it's like what you need to do is you need to find people that will have energy, that they're willing to, like, good close friends that have energy to share with you, that will help you heal, like positive energy that will help you heal. So on that advice, and I don't know if I did it. I don't know if I did it 100% the way I would have wanted to, or the way it was supposed to happen. But I basically cut off anything that I felt was negative, and I only allowed the people that I felt I could get positive energy from to to speak into me and to visit. I made a concerted effort, a personal efforts to reach out to people and to be within community, albeit like still in recovery and still taking care of myself and making sure I didn't strain myself too much, but to be in community whenever I could, even if like in my recovery, or like the way I had to rest, kept me semi immobile, and then of course I wouldn't be able to fully participate in certain things physically. I was just like, as long as I'm in community, as long as I'm with people around me that are like that are sharing that energy of love, compassion, and wanting to see me succeed, both in my health and also in my wellness, both socially, mentally, emotionally. And the time of recovery, between those two instances, the one 2 years ago and the one now, almost like night and day. Whereas, like about 2 years ago, it took months and months and months for me to recover because I just kept like wallowing in that whole, like, don't share your burdens with anyone. To this time where I'm just in a span of about um, a month, maybe about 6 weeks, I was almost completely recovered. With and I'll even say this, with a surgery that was much more invasive, and should have taken months to recover. Like, I recovered a lot faster, because of that focus on building community. And no, it wasn't the only thing, of course, like changes in like diet and properly keeping active without extenuating my surgery. Like those things helped as well too. But there was something that was very um that was very physically visceral, in a good way, not in like a bloody way, but in a healing way. That was very. It was so apparent that I was healing a lot faster because of that. Um, and again, I do want to emphasize as well too that maybe I didn't do it correctly, right? Like people who did love me, but I felt like were giving me the wrong energy. I did cut them out of my life for a while. Maybe I shouldn't have done it so viscerally to them. So in that regard, I apologize for that. And it's taken time to like like mend those fences and reestablish a relationship. But in a time where I felt so vulnerable. I just I reached for what um what I thought would help me heal more. All that being said, watching Spider-Man Brand New Day felt very similar to the struggle I was going with in terms of loneliness and community and relationship. Because that movie tackles it in a way that I think it is more universal, in the sense that, again, like there was a commentary I saw online that's like, this is just about male, the male loneliness epidemic. I was like, I don't think it is. I think we all go through it. Talking to my friends, of like various gender backgrounds, so it's not just males, but we have talked about how we all feel that way, how we have a hard time reaching out to friends who want to help. I had a really good talk with a friend of mine. His name's Solar, and this was actually, this was, I think, during my recovery, and I had mentioned this whole idea that I thought, um, that there might be some days where no one will think of me. Like I'll go through the entire day, and it frightened me to think that not a single person would have thought of me the entire day. And it's not to say that people don't think of me, but I was in a place where I really just thought, it's just like, there are probably some days where where I'm not anyone's first, second, or even third thought. Like I don't even appear in anyone's mind. And it frightened me a lot to be like that, to feel that alone. Not necessarily lonely, but just to feel that like you're so hidden upon an island of yourself that you feel like no one really cares. And he said something very poignant to me that I didn't prompt him to say. He just says like, I thought about you the other day, like on a random day, I thought about you. And sure enough, every time now that, because I've mentioned to him, every time that he thinks of me, literally every time he thinks of me, he texts me and says, by the way, I thought of you today. If you didn't think anyone else was thinking about you, I did. And it means the world to me. And I thank him for that. And like even now, I'm a little teary eyed, like thinking about it, because I know I have not just him, but so many friends and family and community that do. Um, and I guess it feels poignant now more than ever in terms of like having my, like like celebrating my birthday today. It's a very interesting thing to just like have this time to celebrate, well, to have a birthday, because a lot of the emphasis on birthdays is the fact that, like, you're being remembered. Someone is remembering you. Someone's remembered that you were born, that you exist, that you're taking up space, and that people and people love that you are taking up space within this world, because their world and your world, will never be the same without each other. So like it feels poignant to think about it that way, because I don't know if we've emphasized that enough nowadays. And um and in that sense, I feel for Spider-Man. I understand why he would feel that way. And then just going into like, and I mean, this is the beginning of Spider-Man. Like this is not ruining Brand New Day. But before the movie begins, they kind of have a rundown of the fact that in the previous movie, in No Way Home, um Dr. Stephen Strange casted a spell that made everyone forget who Spider-Man is, and that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. So everyone forgot who Peter Parker was. So everyone that loved him, everyone who cared for him, everyone forgot about him. So he's entering this movie, going like years, knowing that everyone knows and loves Spider-Man, but no one knows about Peter Parker, and seemingly no one cares about Peter Parker. So he faces a lot of the tension that we have when we need help, when we're sick, when we're frightened, when we're alone, when we feel like no one's really like thinking about us or caring about us throughout the day, or week or month or year or moment. That's no, I'm on top of no one's mind. But you also had the burden of, I don't want to stress people out just because I feel lonely. Like, you want to have a stiff upper lip, and like you want to be like, no, I'll face this stuff on my own. Uh, because it's my burden. I don't want to burden other people just because I feel bad. But then here's the thing that I start to kind of remember in another conversation I had with my friend, because as I was feeling this way and reaching out into community this year, after, of course, like all this stuff was happening, like we had this very pointed conversation where it's just like, if you were hurting, I would want you to call me. Like I like, as a friend in relationship in community with you, I hope you reach out to me. And I know that that's not every single friend, but hopefully we do have at least one or two friends that if you're hurting, if you reached out to them at moments notice, they drop everything, they'd leave everything, they come after you, and they just make sure that you're okay. And then they would spend time with you, and maybe spend a day with you, and maybe call in sick for you, and um maybe like spend an entire weekend with you. And this is not really this is not really meant to like shout out this organization, but I just recently like saw um, a short documentary on like an organization that does that was founded on that very thing. It's called To Write Love on Our Arms, where it was literally started with one friend knowing that another friend was going through addiction withdrawals, so he like stopped what he was doing for an entire week just to spend time with that friend so that she can wean down the drugs enough to go into rehab. And that's how the whole organization started, by just saying, I'm a friend, and this is why we have relationship. I i i forget, I think a lot of us do, I think we forget that that's why we have friends. I think we are friends, we become friends because we have a lot of things in common, or we share the same kind of experiences, or even sometimes with some friends of mine we commiserate on experiences. um but we have so much commonality, and that relationship grows into a loving community. I think we forget that the and I say this lightly because it's not a guaranteed thing, but we forget that part of that social contract of having friends is also being there um through the thick and not just the thin. Like, to celebrate with them when, like, like if they have a feature, if they have like a an album coming out, or if they published a book, or if they have a baby, or if they're getting married. But I think we forget we're also supposed to be there to um like hold their hair back when they're throwing up because they made a lot of bad decisions that night, or to be with them when the breakup happens, or to sit with them and to attend services when they've lost like someone super close to them, or when all the types of tragedies strike, or when they are sick and they don't know what's going on. Like, I think we forget that that's also why we have community and friendships. I think that's I think, I mean, culturally, like it feels like it's against the grain, that's that in some of the culture that I live in, that's almost taboo to share your burdens. But then also spiritually, it's so funny because we preach that, because we talk about it. And again, since I got my degree in theology, there's literally like there's a verse. Um, there's a verse in the Bible that says, "Cast your burdens on Him, who is God. Cast your burdens on Him, for He cares for you." I like it. Some translation says, "Cast your cares upon Him, because He cares for you." I find that interesting because, like, we preach it, like we say, like, "Hey, cast your burdens on God," um, because He'll care for us. I think, though, if we are to be imitators of Christ, imitators of God, then we also should be technically prepared to stand in the place where God calls us to be as part of His hands and feet. And what I mean by saying is that, like, when we cast our burdens on God, I think I think in that sense, we also have to be prepared to catch the burdens for Him also, or I would at least say with Him. So when you're casting burdens on God, when you're praying and when you're asking for healing, a part of that casting the burdens is also perhaps God asking the community around, and it's like, "Hey, look, your friend is sick and he's giving me the burdens. Can you help me hold them?" And it's not to say that God needs help with it, but I would probably say that being imitators of Christ, if we are supposed to cast our burdens onto Christ, then it's not so far as to say that we should also um like imitate Christ and alleviate the burdens of the people within our community, of our loved ones, of the people that we love. And again, it goes back into Brand New Day. And again, not ruining the film, but the film does address, like, what do you do with that loneliness when you don't want to be the burden to people around you, when you don't want um to be like someone else's, like give it to someone else and make your problem their problem. I think we forget that, like, as loved ones and friends, that's what we signed up for. I guess I can say this right now, like, I don't know how much bandwidth I have to help my friends, but that should also be a good thing, because I don't know how much I'm willing to love. Like, I haven't measured it because I don't know if I've reached that level yet to any particular person, which means I'm here to see how far I'll go to show my love, my compassion, and my care for the people that I love around me. And the great part is we're a community. So if it does get to the point where maybe I can't handle it on my own, then I have the rest of the community to be able to help me handle um, the burdens that one of my friends can have. Yeah. So I think we need to love more in that regard. I think I think and you'll see in the movie. I think the title Brand New Day is poignant because it is trying to tell us, all of us, that there's a different way to live. Perhaps not in a state of perpetual loneliness, that we only have our own burdens to bear and we shouldn't share them. But then, in fact, the new day comes from when we realize that we don't have to share the burden alone.